If you want the thank yous and you want the accolades and you want all these things, don't be a strength coach.
So you're kind of like building up the DNA for that team.
Coaches are decision makers. So just like a military mentality, if he's not 100% sure in the decision that he's making, they're not going to follow you. They're going to walk behind you. They ain't going to run behind you.
Please, allow me to show you something.
All right, you guys, welcome to the Savage Mountain Podcast. I bring to you my homie, Brandon Barna. I got stumbled there, but this show is brought to you by Neo Life Physical Therapy and Wellness. Also brought to you by Neo Golf, get your short game up, and Neo Fit. Led by yours truly, Quan Mickel. I said it before. I got my guy, Brandon Barna, in here. Absolute unit of an individual, bro. And a superstar. This man is everywhere. From commercials to strength and conditioning rooms to classrooms. This guy done. He is a pioneer. He is a reason for the season. Okay? I'm telling you this because I mean it. I mean it. I truly do mean it, bro. So, welcome, Brandon Barna, to the Savage Mountain Podcast.
Man, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. That was quite the intro, man. I've never been introduced like that, so I appreciate that.
Bro, I'm on cloud nine. Cause look, dude, let me say this. Let me hone back a little bit of the excitement because again, like I was just telling you before, like the whole strength and conditioning like thing that was our personal trainer, it was almost looked like it was like almost lesser than. Yeah. And especially for me, I was like, man, now I want to do more, but I don't want to be in a classroom. I don't want to be a teacher, but I do want to impact the athlete. I want to find a way to impact the athlete in a sense and be able to provide for my family. And then you see the watering down with commercial gems of the passion and the artistry that takes to truly be a strength and conditioning coach. And when you was at Hardin's?
Yeah. At Hardin Sports Medicine.
Yes. Yeah. When you was there, and then I was over at the Gulfport site, I was like, man, he on to something. Yeah. Like he's on to something. Like, and then COVID hit.
Yeah.
You know.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Unfortunately, but I think like with any kind of change, man, any kind of change is gonna be difficult. But you pivot, you stayed the course, you kept the main thing, and now, bro, you have this facility, but you not just a facility, you have the end all be all in regards to like location of athletes, because Gulfport is fucking massive. It is massive, bro. Batchy, I always like to talk to my guy. When we was at Neo Life in Gulfport, we would talk to patients and we would say, yeah, this is Neo Life in Gulfport. And residents of Gulfport would say, no, you're not. And I'm like, how? This says Gulfport. They said, nope, you're on the little tip of the iceberg that is Gulfport, which is that little peninsula, that little bridge right there, the Blue Dog Bistro, and a couple of expensive houses in the back. Now, the rest of that place, that landmass way, way, way back there, all of that is Gulfport. He got that.
Yeah, man.
So what?
We like to think so. But, we try to appeal to everybody and, try to reach everybody. And that's part of I would say the difficulty, but that's part of I guess, what you have to learn about being a coach is that there's Gulfport, but let's say the coast as a whole. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, whenever people think of the coast, they think of like Ocean Springs and Biloxi, and then of course you think of Gulfport and Long Beach a little differently. But you have to be able to relate to everybody, because you can't just relate to baseball parents or football parents or soccer parents or anything like that. You have to reach kids from St. Patrick, Biloxi, Gulfport, Harrison Central, all these kids if you really want to, grow the field, and if you're really in there for the people and for the kids, right? You can't really put yourself in a box and say, this is who I'm going to specialize to. If you're in there and you're passionate about what you do, try to reach everybody, and that's kind of the mentality I have towards it, right? So,
man, you're extremely diverse, And you saying that right there, like, just speaks to it. Because you went to a HBCU, right?
I did, Alcorn State.
Man, and guess what, brother? When I speak of HBCU, I do not picture you. I just don't. Bet you probably, that's a historically black college and university, brother. You and I went to a PWI, but still, all in all, what drove you to have the background that you do have and like absolutely like just thrive at an HBCU?
Yeah. Well, I have a pretty unique upbringing in the sense that
Talk to me.
I'm biracial, right? So my mom is black and my dad's white. You know, my dad's from Detroit. His family's from Detroit and Buffalo.
So your daddy black?
You would think so, right? No, my dad, it's kind of backwards to start because everybody thinks you have a black dad and a white mom. No, my dad's white, my mom's black. And, he has that kind of upbringing, kind of a northern, he's from a big city and everything. And my mom is from Gulfport. So I grew up, playing baseball, basketball, and football. So to play those three sports, you have to have a bit of, you experience a bunch of different cultures and a bunch of different people, right? So it helps you going from locker room to locker room to locker room, meeting a whole bunch of different people and being able to relate to a whole bunch of different people. And then you go to Alcorn State, which a ton of my family members have been there. My grandfather, aunt and uncle, my aunt and uncle, they were actually, or my uncle was a president of the Alumni Association, the National Alumni Association up there. And one of my cousins eventually became the president of the university up there. So you never know what you're going to get whenever you look at my family. We're kind of all over the place. And ultimately, that was a big reason why I ended up at Alcorn. It's because of the family ties and everything. And my mom went to an HBCU. My mom went to Hampton University up in Virginia. So we kind of, it was never off the picture, or out of the picture. And I got a chance to go with my brother as well. We both entered at the same time. He's 2 years older than me, but we both spent my first year was his first year at Alcorn. So there was a lot of reasons why I went, and ultimately it was a great decision, and I'm glad I got to experience Alcorn State and eventually experience Southern Miss for my master's on being on campus there. So I'd say I got the best of both worlds, being able to experience two totally different ends of the spectrum, but being able to really enjoy and thrive in two different settings. So yeah.
Damn, dude. That's it took. And I had my good friend Devontre, he Alcorn all through and through, and all throughout, like his mom was just like a massive advocate for it. And I'm from Louisiana, so what I knew was like Southern and Grambling.
Yeah.
But I knew like I love sports, and whenever I watched Southern and Grambling, I was worried about the band. I didn't necessarily care about the sport or the game itself. I was just worried about the halftime show. I love sports, so I was focused on LSU. So when she would say anything about Alcorn, because she wanted everybody that was from D'Iberville, I guess the primarily black athletes that was in at D'Iberville, we lived over here.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Oh, y'all going to Alcorn?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, the hell we ain't. No, I'm not. I don't know what that means." But as I got older, I'm like, the sense of like pride and like just ownership and having that identity of like that experience you can only get it, at those places. Right. I went and I was able to experience a PWI, but ultimately I did feel like, man, I may have missed out on a calling in a sense because I just wasn't educated, or I was just naive to think like, nah, I can just go to Southern Miss or whatnot and do what I need to do. But instead, like nowadays, it's like when I hear of Gina, when she speaks on it, when I hear my friend Devontre speak on it, I'm like, man, I'm kind of jealous, man. I wish I could have. And then I see your ass, and I'm like, dang, he did it. He rocking and rolling. He absolutely thriving. Like you do some of the stuff that I've been privy to, and I pride myself on too, on being diverse and being able to shake the hands of people that's typically in these rooms where color is not necessarily there, right. And then you also could go into the neighborhoods and then thrive and do what you got to do and be like, yeah, I'm here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no doubt.
And don't feel like you're having to change your ways. You're just being you.
Right.
You know, a thermostat in the sense where you can dictate how the room goes based on just you. Could be you just being yourself. You know, and I've always been a fan or admired that from afar. So just being able to hear that and seeing how that you did that, you know, man, salute you, man. Again,
Appreciate that.
a unit, an absolute unit, bro. So as we pivot and we navigate on, I saw you on a commercial.
Yeah.
Saw you on a commercial, and I was like,
Recently? Like
Man.
a recent commercial?
recently, bro, it was WLOX, bro, suited and booted, man. I said, yo, this dude about to be the damn president. So how did you stumble upon? Is that something like that in your future politics?
Yeah.
Because you got the voice for it.
Who's to say? A friend of mine.
Booming.
Yeah. A friend of mine, a really good friend. He's a chairman up there
Yeah.
and closely associated with a lot of political figures, you know, in the state, in the South, and in the country. And he presented to me, and he kind of, you know, he told me a lot of good things that were going on in Mississippi and everything, and it was something that I was proud of, and it was something I could stand behind, right? So, you know, got a chance to get on there, and then it was funny after all that happened. He said he got quite a few phone calls about, like, man, we got to get this dude in office somewhere. It's like, yeah, you know, it sounds good and everything, and I'm definitely not writing it off, you know, but I said right now, it's like, yeah, you got to up the ante a little bit because I like where I am, you know what I'm saying? I still like to coach, and if that's something
Yeah.
in the future, you know, then hey, we'll see about it. But you know, right now, you know, like I said, I like where I am, and you know, I also like being able to meet certain people, and you know, it's opened up some doors, and you know, got me in, like you said, in some rooms that probably I wouldn't have been able to get into, right? So, yeah, it was a good experience, right? And of course, with something like that, and this is just politics as a whole, you're going to get some pushback from a lot of people. So, you know, my Facebook messages were pretty full for quite a while. And, you know, you hear things being said about you on Twitter and Facebook, like you said, and you know, all these things, but it's not worse than what you hear, you know, playing sports and that trash talk. So, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, whatever, just let it roll off the shoulder and you know, kind of go with it. But at the end of the day, you know, I am who I am. You know, I felt comfortable getting up there and saying it, right? And so if somebody has something to say, it's like, oh, I mean, okay, cool. You know, kind of have to have that mindset with anything, and with politics, you're kind of, you know, speaking on anything that you're passionate about or believe in or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, it was a good experience. It was a good experience. You know, learned a lot from it, and like I said, opened some doors that probably wouldn't have been opened otherwise. So,
Yeah. You again, that the level of like calmness that you have, because again, like for me, I was a coach, but I'm also very aware of how I am emotionally.
yeah,
I know I can be emotionally hostile, man. Like if you call me a name, I'm gonna call you a name back, and that ain't always best for business.
yeah,
It's not. For you to have the awareness and understand that, like back when we were growing up and going through sports, it was always a level of separation.
yeah,
Like you could separate things. Now you can't. Everything is kind of blended in.
yeah,
So like you was speaking about politics right in front of me, and I'm like, oh, that's also, you're a coach.
yeah,
You probably get that same kind of energy. Like as far as like people attacking you and coming at you in a certain way and having to police not just the athletes but also the parenting
yeah,
as
No
well.
doubt.
So that's and people feeling like because Tommy just can't play, they just assuming that you have an agenda against Tommy.
right,
I was like, nah, he just can't. But you can't say Tommy's trash. You got to be like, it's just some things from a development standpoint.
Right.
You got to do that. So how was that coming from an era, but dealing with a new style of athlete that's about the clicks and the captions opposed to the actual work, the in between?
yeah. I mean, I can go on for a while about this, man. So
Well, please do.
Yeah, whenever, you know, I grew up in up there in Orange Grove, and Harrison Central and Gulfport's in the same city, but it's two totally different schools, right? So you got a bunch of, more blue collar, more middle class up in Harrison Central, right? And you can be a lot tougher with those type of kids. And then the parents, they'd come and complain because, parents complain everywhere. That's nothing new. But, I mean, they would be, you could talk to those kids a little differently. And we were talked to differently, right? I mean, they would jump our butt and, our response was, yes, sir. And, now things have changed and everything. And I graduated in 2015. It's 2025. And, things, kids change. They have access to a bunch of superstar athletes just bouncing wherever they want to in the portal and everything. And, they transfer culture is big, right?
Yeah.
So I think that leads to a lot of kids thinking they're invincible, right? And instead you told me I was calm. It's like any of my athletes, they would know I'm not calm. I like to be a strength coach. It comes with the territory. Like I am naturally an intense person, right? I'm very intense, do a lot of yelling, and of course the music's blaring. You got a lot of energy in there. So I mean, it is very intense, right? And a lot of that, and we gotta put our kids in those tough situations, and I yell at them for 6 months before coach even gets them in spring ball. So guess what? Whenever bullets are flying, when we're playing, D'Iberville or Harrison Central or Biloxi and everything, you snatch a kid off the field, and you're yelling at them. It's like that ain't nothing new to them. You know what I'm saying? They can take that and they can respond because at the end of the day, they know, hey, you're being yelled at, but we're not saying a single thing that's going to make you worse. Every single thing we do as a coach is to make you better. So at first, I'm going into my 4th year coaching at Gulfport. At first, it was, man, if somebody called me something or they cussed me out or something like that, they're about to hear it too.
Yeah.
And I would say at first, and it's something I'm still working on, because like I said, I wouldn't say I'm non-confrontational. If we'll have a conversation if it needs to be had. You know what I'm saying? And it's something that I'll always probably have to work on. It's something I'll always have to check myself with, and just pray about, because if I get too far away from it, I can lose control a little bit. But now I'm kind of learning, like, hey, you have to deal with 100 kids at one time in the weight room. These kids respond better to this. This kid, I can yell at this kid. An example, Trey Peters, he's our captain. He's a man on our team, all-state linebacker. If I see 10 kids beside him messing up and playing around, a little younger, I will rip Trey's butt for no reason. I'll just rip his butt, and he'll say, yes, sir. So guess what? Once he says yes, sir, those other 10, I ain't got to worry about them because they know, hey, if I keep playing, you're next. Right. So things like that you kind of have to learn those things, and I've had to learn them. And just from maturing, and I have a lot of maturing to do still. I have a lot of growth that I still have to make and achieve and all those things. But I'd still, like I said, I have room to grow, but I've definitely experienced what you're talking about as far as kids being a little different, and being, like you said, there's no line a lot of times. And whenever this new staff came in to Gulfport, we had to draw that line and be like, hey, we call the shots, military mentality, this is how it's going to go. You either get in or get off. Right.
There we go.
So if they got in, and a lot of guys, we got, some of the people out of there that just wouldn't buy in. And now the culture is extremely strong, right? So I feel good about where we are. I feel good about the changes we've made. But what you said, we definitely experienced that our first few years in, because it was rough. We had to change a culture, and like I said, I'm really proud about where we are. But I've experienced everything you just said. Yeah, everything.
Oh man. As far as like the strength coach and the head honcho of that situation, you are, and we're gonna speak just exclusive to the football team. Okay. Because you handle everyone, right?
Right,
all
so
sports or
the main sports? Yeah.
Okay,
I say the main sports. The bigger, the sports that really require the weight room.
Okay.
Right? So
okay.
Yeah.
Well, with that said, you sense the DNA of the team, because they don't run it. They don't meet their coach. They ain't supposed to be with their head coach until, like you said, spring.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like building up the DNA for that team, and then especially in the summer, that happens. I always lean back on how Nick Saban was like, he had to have Tommy Moffitt at LSU, and have Cochran, at Alabama, he was like, nah, like I need my strength coach to be, because I can't be with them. So I need my strength coach to be like, hey, this guy does this in the weight room. You can rely on this person, rely on that person. So how does it feel to take on all of that? But whenever people are talking about the end result of the game, they ain't, you're like an unsung hero. You're not getting acknowledged as the person that's when Peters make these plays and he's dumping people on their neck, that's a direct of what you've done in the weight room.
Right. Yeah, man. So
how does that feel?
Yeah. Well, you get into it. If you want the thank yous and you want the accolades and you want all these things, don't be a strength coach. don't do it. I'm telling you. If you want to get in it for that type of stuff, don't do it. And that's fine. It's the way I kind of carry myself and everything. I definitely walk around with a lot of confidence. I know what I'm capable of, and I don't shy down about it, right? I kind of know what I bring, and without that, I feel like just the burnout of being a strength coach would really hit me, because like I have to know, like whenever I wake up, whenever I approach work, whenever I'm there at 5:30 in the morning or 5 o'clock prepping for our speed school and lift, like if I'm just sitting there kind of questioning myself or feeling just kind of iffy, I wouldn't survive, so. I have to carry myself as like, hey, I still have room to grow. There's a lot of growth. I still have to learn a lot of things. But at the same time, it's like, hey, man, I know myself, and I'm going to come in here. I'm going to make these kids better, and I'm going to do it with confidence because, people can sense a fake, right? So I'm be genuine. I'm going to carry myself, like I said, like I know what I'm talking about, and these kids are going to feed off of it. So that's when you say like it's you're not going to hear the thank yous. It's a thankless job. It really is. But one of the best feelings in the world is on signing day. Whenever you have a lot of these kids thank you, right? Because the kids see it. The parents might not. The fans might not. But the kids see it and they appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Even though you're in their face yelling at them, you're rolling them, you're making them do up downs, you're making them do these things. I always say you're going to thank me for it later, right? So they come back, they sign day. A lot of them thank me, and then they'll go play in college. And they'll come back and be like, yeah, you were right. Like, man, I know that we'll get the thank yous later. We don't get the flowers whenever we're doing it, but we get our flowers later. And then what you said about Cochran and Moffitt over there, one of the first meetings I had with Coach Pennick whenever he came in, it was my first meeting. It was like the strength coach is essentially the head coach of the offseason. Yep. Right. So, and of course he's still a head coach and everything runs through him. But as time's gone on, like first offseason, he was definitely more hands-on. You can tell like the head coach doesn't want to have to be hands-on with that. He doesn't want to, like, that's something that he wants to worry about, X's and O's, and he has a million other things to worry about. So if he can trust somebody to really mold the culture of a team, right, then he's like, hey, go do it. Let me take care of what I need to take care of, and he'll support me in any way I need, in any way he feels necessary. But like I said, that's a big aspect. And at first, he came in January, and he had to leave his mark on the team, right? So he was speaking to him every day, and eventually, as time went on, he let me speak to him more, and I learned things from him and everything. And I've really learned how to approach situations, approach teams, handle situations, good and bad. And for the last 2 off seasons, he's let me just run it from November all the way till August. Like, that is I take pride in that. I take pride in getting them bigger, stronger, faster, all those things, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you have a kid who's mentally weak, if you have a kid who's not competitive, if you have a kid who's just, or team who's mentally weak, not competitive, it's not going to show on the field, right? So that mentality, that toughness, the standard is what we talk about all the time. You hear Nick Saban talk about it all the time. It's like we present a standard and we don't budge from that standard. Yes. And that's the biggest thing I feel like with a lot of people, because you can have people that know how to work out. You can have people that know how to program and do all these things, but are they going to live the standard every single day? Are you going to get to spring break and then you're feeling the same way as the kids and be like, all right, let's just get out of here and let's just get to Destin. Let's just get to Orange Beach. No, like you have to have somebody there that's, the standard doesn't change, right? And that comes from being genuine and all these things. And these kids know, like, hey, they're not going to have good days every single day. That's fine. But they also know if I don't have a good day, I'm going to hear about it, right? You're going to know, like, hey, I better bring it or there's going to be consequences to my lack of effort, lack of action, lack of, production, whatever the case is, right? And they don't like it when it's happening. You know how it goes. They don't like it when it's happening. No. But whenever we're up in Madison Central or Brandon, and we're competing and doing these things, or even playing Daphne, who's a really good Alabama team.
Yeah.
And I hate to say this, and if anybody from Daphne is listening, then no disrespect, but we worked them, and they had 3 stars, 4 stars all over the field. And you have our kids who are smaller, undersized,
0 stars,
no offers, working them, know. And that was eye-opening for the kids, and be like, hey, you do the work, it's going to show up no matter who we play. Line us up against anybody, and we're going to go out there and compete. You know what I'm saying? So when we talk about DNA, like that's the DNA of Gulfport right now.
There
right?
we go.
Some dogs now.
And you catapult that, man. Like I don't know if Gulfport has always been a football school, but you're kind of changing that as like this is this is what we do.
Yeah, we're real close. We're real close, and I would think that if people thought about Gulfport, they'd think of it as being a basketball school because of guys like Chris Jackson when he played there, or it's the state championships that were won, Owen Miller, and all these things, and it's definitely a basketball school, but whenever we think of the state of Mississippi, it's a football state.
It's a football state.
So if you're a basketball school in Illinois or in New York, like that's a huge deal. Like that's a big thing. Well, if you're a football school in Mississippi, that is a huge deal because you get the best of the best from Mississippi. Our population isn't as big, so we don't send out the numbers, but per capita, we send out more people to the NFL Hall of Fame, everything than anybody in the nation. So if you want to be like widely known and widely recognized, you better be good at everything, especially football. So 3 years ago, our athletic department kind of made that push, and we're like, hey, we're gonna invest in football because you have to invest in football if you want to be good in it. Period. You got to have the resources, you got to have the people in place. You got to have, and that's from top to bottom, from middle school up. You got to have the people in place if you really want to thrive for a long period. So that was a big push, and then of course Coach Pennant came in, and we had those meetings, and he trusted me to to really take hold of that all season and form the DNA and the mentality of the team. Of course, with the help from every assistant coach we have because they do a great job. But yeah, like I really feel like these kids are walking around now holding their head up and being like, hey, we're here to stay, and we're gonna wake some people up this year. We got some big names on the schedule, and we're gonna have some bigger names in the playoffs, and we're looking to go hit somebody in the mouth. So
damn, rallying cry. You ready to run through a wall? That's your
I'm
Come on, bruh. The booming voice with the intentional behind it. Man.
Yeah,
so
man.
like I'm strolling through Instagram, and I got a couple of schools that I follow on there. So I'm like, I see LSU. Ooh, their weight room, nice. It got catapult players on there. Oh, it's got the catapult on them. Dang, Alabama, same thing. Okay, ooh, Mississippi State. All SEC schools. And Gulfport. Wow, hold on. They got the same damn gear that LSU players got on, bro.
Yeah.
And that's back to you. So that means like, and I'm talking about like LSU is heavily invested until their weight room and the finances that they put behind it. And you got these kids wearing the same, as far as like metrics and stuff like that, gauging same thing as Division I. So the standard is the standard. Like if they was used to eating hamburger helper, you forcing them to eat filet mignon.
No doubt.
Because you wearing that shit is not cheap.
No, it ain't. It
ain't.
Yeah.
And y'all not budging.
No, we believe in something, man, and our athletic director, he's bought in, and our head coach, he believes in it, and he's all about being on the cutting edge of things and being ahead. So he's given me the reins to get some of this technology, and we use even the way we stream our workouts on the board, and it's a timing system and everything, and I say the board on our 4 TVs around the weight room. I would say that we are definitely on the cutting edge, right? And I know there's like MRA uses Titan, which is similar to Catapult, but we're the only public school in the state that uses Catapult, which is why Dan Denicole up there, he's a representative, a salesman of Catapult, and he's pretty high up there. He reached out to us and was like, look, man, we hear about Gulfport, and we want you guys to be kind of the cornerstone. So anything that you see, anything you like, dislike, give me feedback so that we can, kind of grow this thing together. And of course, by doing that, he hoped to spread it to more people. But we kind of like being that cornerstone, that pioneer school, right?
Yeah.
So it's a lot, and my job is strength and conditioning. I'm not tight ends. I'm not, safeties. My job is strength and conditioning. And so, like, after every practice, go look at that, make sure we're good. If we're good, good. If we're not, have to go, talk to, hey, safeties need this, corners need this, O-line needs this. And it informs the way we do our conditioning, because we don't like to condition too much, right?
Yeah.
Because we want our steps to be useful. So if we can look at the catapult and say, hey, I need 750 sprint yards, I would much rather them get 750 sprint yards from practice than 250 sprint yards, and then we're sprinting 500 yards just to run. How about we make sure our practice is as efficient as possible?
Yes,
so we're getting in shape, and they're getting better at their craft.
Mm-hmm.
So then it allows me after to do sport or position specific conditioning, and then leading up to certain weeks, like Picayune week is going to be a bigger load on our defensive line and linebackers. Yeah. But it's going to be a much lighter load on our DBs because they just don't throw the ball. Same thing with D'Iberville. You throw a lot more than Picayune, but just seeing that data lets me be a lot more confident on my Tuesdays whenever I'm grabbing certain groups. Like, hey, I need D-line to do this for condition, and I need safeties to do this for condition, and I need quarterbacks and running backs to do this for conditioning, right? It helps me feel a lot more confident in how I go about those type of things. And it helps me. Well, it helps our team as a whole because we get to the point where we kind of form practice around this sometimes. So like, hey, Tuesdays, or Mondays, we're doing way too much on Mondays. Let's tone it down. Let's teach more. Tuesdays, we're not doing enough on Tuesdays. Let's get it going. Let's pick it up some. And then Wednesdays, hey, let's try to be cleaner in how we go through our situationals and how we go through our preps, because this Wednesday practice might be a little too long, or we're not doing enough on Wednesday. So it ebbs and flows. But that type of technology is what that's for.
There
right?
You go,
so
dude.
It's a lot to read and not to brag because I'm a strength coach, and it's just my field. But I definitely take pride in the fact that I can efficiently break down that information and know how to apply it to 80 people. You know what I'm saying? So
you have that, and that's one of the things that I deal with when I'm working with the fighters, because they don't come from a lifting mindset.
Yeah.
You have to change that mindset to show hey, this could correlate to what you got going on. We didn't get that catapult yet, but we try. We on our way. But you using that, and not just being a pioneer in the sense of using a catapult, but you're also being a pioneer in this position too. So with you doing this and a good work and you find a success at this, other schools are going to start peeping.
Yeah.
And they're going to start garnering interest, and you're like, yo, hey, we may have to. So with that mindset of man, if we do this right and I'm successful, people are going to start asking questions. And they're going to start asking questions, and then guess what? Loyalty is loyalty, but sometimes everybody got a price.
Yeah.
So somebody gonna come and knocking, Brandon, and they're gonna be like, "Hey, I like what you did over there. Come do it over here."
Yeah.
We'll sprinkle. We'll throw a coin on there. We'll pay a mortgage on the house. So you good at staying put? Are you? I know you're not conducting business like a finished product.
Right.
So we're constantly trying to evolve and elevate. So do you thinking about going to the next level?
Right. So whenever I took a high school job, my goal at the end of it might be 10 years, 15, 20 years from now, I want to get my foot in at a professional level. I want preferably an NFL, and whatever steps I have to take to get there.
You look the part.
I appreciate that. I really, that's the end goal for me. It really is, and I'm very happy with where I am right now, extremely happy. And then we're playing football at the highest level in Mississippi, and we're competing at the highest level, and to win a state championship there, that's a goal of mine. And to win a few, I wouldn't be happy until we did win a few. I wouldn't be happy or content with leaving. But of course, you get phone calls all the time, and people have offered raises and things like that, and but I like where I am. I'm happy where I am, and we're doing great things, and I believe in what's going on in Gulfport. So Yeah, I hear what you're saying with that. And then, like you said, as far as people asking questions about catapult, it's funny because when people look at it, an offense, right? So let's say our offense, we're spread, we throw the ball around.
Up to
Last
date.
year, last year we were a tempo offense. I'm talking, we were running the play every 15, 18 seconds. Like it was moving pretty quick. And another coach, let's say a coach from Hattiesburg, I don't know, he can look at film. It's on film, like the offense is out there. It's not a secret.
Yeah.
And so are we saying, hey, let's dumb down our offense so that people don't steal things? No, you just have to have confidence. Like, hey, we're going to open up the playbook. We're going to throw everything at them. And we're just going to trust the fact that we're so, one, disciplined in what we do. And we're elite coaches at what we coach that, hey, you can see what we do, but you just can't do it like us.
Yeah.
So that's something that I had a conversation with Coach Pinnock about. I was like, hey, so should we, we're trying to be big on social media. So should we post this on social media? Like, of course I've gotten questions and, some coaches from around the coast have called and said, hey, how do you do this? How do you do that? And I'm not shy about answering it. I was like, yeah, we do this for this, this, and this, because we're confident enough in what we do at Gulfport to say, like, yeah, you can have it, but are you going to do it to our level or better?
Yeah.
So, and that sounds arrogant and everything, but it kind of goes back to what we talked about earlier. It's kind of like the thankless job. Like, you got to wake up every day knowing, like, hey, I'm about this. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, buddy.
So yeah, we get calls, like you said. We get calls, and I'll say whatever. I'm not going to shy away from it. They see what we're doing. I'm going to take pride in what we do, and we're going to talk about it. But at the end of the day, are you going to be up till midnight looking at this? Are you going to be there every single day? Are you going to take the catapults off the players after a Friday night game, and then spend an hour uploading it and spend another hour looking at it? Are you that person? And I'm just gonna have to bank on the fact that you're not.
Yeah,
So
there we go.
Like I said, man, you got me talking crazy right now. But
no, man, it's a barbaric. It is like it's a barbaric sport, and you got to have a little level of unhingedness about it. I mean, like the owner of this situation, that is Robbie Ellis. He was my linebacker coach, and I said, and he always wondered like what made me want to like follow in a sense with him. Like, I don't know, you looked unhinged, and that's what a linebacker is supposed to be to me. I felt like mentally you fit the part, that the style of play that we needed to have. Yeah. And so there we go. I don't want you don't want a bunch of choir boys on the team. Like you need that person that's like, man, I don't know what I'm gonna get from him today. He may try to punch me.
Yeah.
But I need him. You need at least one. You don't need a lot of them. You just need at least one. And that's just like a big gumbo of just hodgepodge of just like what it is that creates the game that I don't like to call baseball America's pastime. That's what baseball is. But America's future, and here and now, it is football. Yeah. I mean, you have 3 services in church now because the Saints play at 12. My wife hates me when I say that, but I'm like, nah, bro. Yeah. But I want to get to the game too. Pastor trying to get to the game too. But to keep the main thing, with that being said, I like to think that a lot of yesteryear's approach, a lot of head coaches had to have the responsibility of taking control of the strength room.
Right.
And they're beholden to the school board.
Right.
So a lot of time teams would get weaker.
Yeah.
During the season because they was a strength coach or their hands were just they were too involved.
Right.
In the weight room, and they didn't let the strength coach become, or they didn't have one. Yeah. Yeah. So now what you're doing, I think like and people are going to have their eyes on what you got going on. So like if Gulfport does get weaker or y'all fail miserably, they go like, oh, see, that's why we don't. Yeah. But if you knock it out the park, they come to get you, man. They coming to get you. So like that level of like responsibility, do you think about that ever, or do you just go about your day? You're like, nope, I'm just gonna keep the main thing focused. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just knocking it out. Yeah. Do you do that?
Well, back to what you said. Our coach does a great job. I mean, he gives me or this is in season too, which is you're thinking it's
Yeah,
unheard
in
of.
season is man.
They get the time is crunched. So on Mondays I get 45 minutes with them. On Wednesdays I get 45 minutes with them, and on Thursdays I get 40 minutes with them. Which in season, and we do lift the day before a game. In season, that's unheard of for a lot of schools.
Hold on, say it again. Like before the game, you do what?
The day before a game we lift. Yeah. So we lift 3 times a week in season.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, we get after it now.
Thank you.
And we got to get them primed. You know what I'm saying? We just don't sit on our butt on Thursdays. We ain't just a walkthrough. We get them primed, get them ready to go. Got to be really intentional about doing that. But like I said, he gives me time, and a lot of the coaches, they can go game plan, they can do whatever they want to do, whatever they need to do, so that I can run it. And like I said, that the other coaches and he trusts me to run it the way he sees fit, and that's what we do. So it's a lot better that you have. It's a great situation having one coach and that is his only job. Right? It's not being tasked on somebody. It's not just an extra stipend you throw at somebody. Like, that is my only job, and it's what I'm passionate about. Versus having your defensive coordinator in there doing it, or whatever the case is. So like you said, that's definitely something. And I kind of forgot the point you were making about the next thing. I was going to hit on that.
About teams getting weaker?
Oh yeah, right. I'm gonna sound arrogant again, man.
No,
so
good.
yeah,
good.
so
talk your talk, man. You behind the scenes all the time.
Like I said, it's a thankless job.
Yeah.
If the kid cramps, they're going to blame strength coach.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody makes a tackle that he probably wouldn't have made because they're in a spot they wouldn't have been able to make it to 2 months ago before speed school, they don't see that. All right, so it is what it is. But with that, like I said, you have to have the confidence and be extremely confident knowing, like, hey, a lot of people would look at what we're doing. They don't see the background. They don't see what's on the catapult. They don't see what we're reading and say, hey, why are you power cleaning this percentage in November? Like, why are you doing these things? And you have to be firm in your decision, and you have to know, like, hey, I've been through the process. I've learned it. This is taken 10 years of experience, and that is what I'm trusting. I'm not listening to outside voices. We're gonna do this, and you're gonna hear naysayers. You're gonna hear all these things, but that's a decision that I'm gonna make, and that's a decision that I'm gonna live with, and it's something that our staff really appreciates, because at the end of the day, coaches are decision makers. Mm-hmm. So just like a military mentality, if you have 100 troops that are following you, they'll be able to tell that the person in charge of them, the person making these decisions, if he ain't locked in, if he's not 100% sure in the decision that he's making, they're not going to follow you. They're going to walk behind you. They ain't going to run behind you.
Come on now.
With a bunch of coaches, like, we have our little zones, we have our fields that we keep. We stay in our lane, but every single player knows, like, hey, from an offensive line position, Coach Jones is making this decision. I'm going to run through a wall for him because I trust the fact that he is firm in his decision. He's thought about it and he's intentional about it. Hey, from the weight room perspective, I get it. It's October. We're beat up. Hey, I have to squat 400 pounds. I got to do it because, like, he ain't just making me do it just to do it. He is intentional about it. He's thought about it, and it's for the best interest of me individually and our team as a whole. So, yeah, like you said, when it comes to decision makers, that's what coaches are. We're decision makers, and you have to be firm in your decision.
Damn,
right? So,
man, damn, dude, that is, boy, yeah, man. Told you. That's why we got it.
You weren't lying when you said all-star, bro.
I told you, man, I gotta get him in here, man. We spent a lot of time on football, but you are a baseball guy.
Yeah.
Baseball is your calling card.
Right.
Yeah, right. I mean, you're an overall athlete, but you chose baseball.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not a baseball guy at all. But I found myself with being a strength and conditioning coach on my own, along with you, that specialization.
Yeah.
And it's no such thing as off season.
Yeah.
With baseball anymore. So with that, help me. How do you deal, or because when you do the periodization and going through the in season, off season again, those programming methods are always thought of as they do have an off season,
right?
But now it doesn't exist. So when you're working with baseball players, how do you go about that with this year's, or not this year's, but this style of athlete now, where they just always have games over and over and over, and you like, I can't really be experimental and see the big gains that you get during off season with football teams because they have one,
right?
Opposed to other sports where, it's fading, because basketball goes along right there with them.
Yeah.
Like, there's no off season in basketball now. Right. AAU, good Lord, damn it, man.
Yeah. Well,
help me.
In high school, I definitely. Here, let me take a step back. Whenever people look at social media and they see all these sports-specific coaches and everything, your baseball, sports-specific coach at, Driveline or Tread or whoever or wherever they go, they know what they're doing, all these things, and, they're showing you the flashy stuff, right? They're showing you the throwing drills, they're showing you the cool movements, the rotational med ball slams, the med ball throws against the wall, right? Because that's sports-specific. It is, right? But there's also a foundation that they're not showing you, right? And then whenever I was in high school, you'd YouTube, and TikTok wasn't a thing or anything, so you'd YouTube like, hey, baseball workouts, and they show you like 5 different baseball lifts. It was like, yeah, well, those are good to add on top of your core lifts, right? So in high school, the core lifts and everything is, it's kind of like, at some point we would get away from it.
Yeah.
Sorry. At some point we get away from it because, like I said, you do try to get too sports specific. But in college, the first fall is whenever I really realized this, because in fall, the NCAA allows you to practice for 20 hours a week or whatever the case is. So we'd practice 6 days a week, and we'd scrimmage on 2 of those weeks or 2 of those days, and the practice would be pretty long, pretty intense. And I say fall, but fall up at Alcorn State, it was still 95 degrees. So
country hot.
Yeah, it was hot. So man, they'd put us through it, and guess what? We were still in the weight room, and we're still going hard. I mean, we're still front squatting 315, like we're going at it. And next day, like you're sore, but big picture, like you needed that to get where you're going. So if you look at it in a box, like, hey, let me prepare for this game, like let me prepare for my tournament on Saturday. It will get you away from that foundation, and it'll get you away from what you know is right? Because you get so nervous, like, I don't want you to be sore on Saturday. Well, yeah, he might be sore on Saturday. That might be the case, but if he hydrates and if he eats what he's supposed to, it's going to leave some of that soreness. But at the end of the day, we don't need him good on Saturday in February. We need him good in May in the state championship, right? So that's where you have to stand firm. And that it was like, you have kids saying, I'm sore. It's like, look, I've been where you are. I've played in college, we've done all these things. But at the end of the day, we can't look at it in a fishbowl. We got to look at the big picture and say, like, hey, if I need you to throw, if you're throwing 92 now, good. But I need you at 90 to 92 3 months from now, right? So every game isn't the World Series, which is kind of what you have to teach yourself. And high school kids don't want to hear it. It is what it is. But you gotta stay firm in what you believe. You gotta stay firm in, like, hey, I know I'm gonna be sore. That's why we have a warm up, right? Get it out of you, and just you got to play through it. And playing baseball in college, the Northwoods League I'd say it was the most eye opening. I played up in North Dakota, and our closest road game was 5 hours away. We had our league was really spread out from North Dakota, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin.
Jeez,
so our closest road game was 5 hours away. Our farthest road game was 14 hours away. So we would be on the road for 2 weeks at a time sometimes. And of course, like when you do that and you're eating food, it's similar to minor leagues. You're eating food that's not the best. You're getting ham sandwiches sometimes, you're getting chicken tenders and fries sometimes. It's whatever the other team serves and then has to feed you. And then you're on a bus for 15 hours and you have to hop off and play. Well, it's really easy to sleep in that next day when you have a game that night, and then you have to wake up and you have to play another 2 games or whatever the case is. It's really easy to sleep in, but you have to learn how to be a professional. You got to wake up, hit the weight room, stretch, get your cardio in, get your batting practice in, do all these things. And will you feel as good that day? Maybe not, but that might be game 25. We need you for game 75.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So that's just a mature, something you have to grow into, something you have to learn as you grow and you play in, these different scenarios. Like, in my head, I'm saying I want to be good tonight, right?
Yeah.
But how about I'm good tonight, but I'm good 4 months from now as well.
Yeah.
And it goes back to what you're saying. Like, you can't be that without developing an extremely strong foundation, right? And then not getting away from that foundation. So if we go and, hey, if I have a kid doing a split squat with 405, in January, we're not going to get to February and be like, okay, we worked our butt off getting to 405. We worked our butt off to squat 450 pounds and do all these things. So we got you this far, and we're just going to get away from it. Like, no, you have to reach the kid. You have to get them to trust you. To, hey, do this after you just played until 10 o'clock and you got home at midnight. You still got to wake them and do it. So that's part of it. And it goes back to being a decision maker. If they trust that you're firm in your belief, they trust that you're firm in your education and experience, they're going to follow. Will they just be giddy and happy about it all the time? No, right? Okay. But they see the big picture. They see that, hey, he knows what he's talking about. Mm-hmm. He's been there. He's done it. Just get it done. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, that's kind of what it boils down to.
But thank you, that I'm going to continue to stand strong and stand firm on that. So baseball guys, watch out. I'm on your ass now. Yeah. So, man, we'll conclude it with this. And I always like to say, like, any way to, like, impart some wisdom. And I've been inspired by many a podcast, but the pivot, man, that's my joint, bro. Yeah. That's my joint. But if it's like, because again, with you being in a pioneer position, you've also, like, created a lane for individuals like myself and others that may want to go down a path,
Right.
And you essentially had to walk for others to run into situations. I don't think you think of it as I do, like looking from afar, like, yeah, he did. Now other people come back and like, yo, I'm able to do the strength and conditioning coach, and I can knock this out at D'Iberville because Brandon or whatever the big light skinned guy in Gulfport did. Like, he started it, but now I can do this 10 years from now. Anyway, if anyone's like on a non-traditional path and they're trying to discover what they can be, but they don't necessarily want to be, coaching is teaching,
right.
But they don't want to, I guess, feel like the everyday in classroom grind, but they want to find a way to impact kids in a sense. Is it anything you can tell them to, like, inspire them to continue to keep on?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you have to be really passionate about kids and really passionate about, their personal lives and everything. Mm-hmm. So if you can't handle being around, kids and middle schoolers and high schoolers, might not be for you.
Yeah.
So, but, with that, if you truly do care and if you truly are passionate, you're going to have to probably volunteer, learn a little bit. You're going to have to work for cheap. Mm-hmm. My first few years, especially when I was getting my master's, I train, kids 5 days a week for free just because I'm not arrogant enough to say, like, hey, I'm in school, I'm getting my master's, I know what I'm talking about, but hey, you should pay me this much money, right?
Yeah.
Now I set my price and I'm firm in it. But then, I mean, I started off training for free, cleaning bathrooms, that type of thing, right? And you had to work with kids, and you work with kids who, frankly, aren't the SEC baseball player. That's not the professional baseball player, and you learn how to manage things, and you learn different tactics to train and all those things, and you really just got to get your foot in the door, and just be intentional about doing things like that. And nobody is too big of a client, and nobody's too small of a client. So once you start doing that and you start building a reputation for somebody that can make people better at their sport, like I said, whether it's a 12-year-old kid playing league basketball or whether it's a kid getting junior college baseball offers or whether it's a MLB baseball player, right? Your reputation is gonna be spread, or people are gonna, talk to their friends and everything, good or bad. A lot of times it's bad, sometimes from the high school perspective, sometimes it's bad, right? People like to complain, but like who you are as a person, it will be seen, right? Yeah. So if you want to do that, like you said, like, hey, nobody's too big of a client, nobody's too small of a client. Train anybody and everybody because there's something to be learned from every single person that you train, right? Because you're going to run into somebody with a similar situation at some point, and you'll know, like, hey, whenever I was training, Bradley, I did this and it helped. All right, so let me train Mark and do it like this with him, right?
Yeah.
So, like I said, that's kind of my mentality, or that was my mentality. And, it's like if you can do it for free, you can do it and make money, right? So if I had any advice to give, that's probably it. Like, hey, you might have to eat peanut butter and jelly for a while, but once you break that glass, and you're going to get in contact with the right person, and you're going to get in contact with the right group, or the right baseball team, or the right soccer team, or the right basketball team, and boom, you're going to take off. So yeah, that's really what I would say to anybody who's kind of new to it or wants to get into it.
Yeah, man. Well,
Yeah,
but put it here, my man. I appreciate this one, bro.
you got it, man.
Dang
you got
it, man. So, want me to sign them off?
Sign him off, Quan.
All right, y'all. Man, this has been the Savage Mountain Podcast. Thank you for coming this time. Hopefully keep you next time. Just don't make this your last time, okay? And we're out.